Now let's begin Section 8.2, Linear Equations in Two Variables. In Section 8.1, we discussed functions and how you can represent functions using a table, ordered pairs, and graphs. You can also represent functions with an equation. An equation such as y equals 1.50x is called a linear equation. A linear equation in two variables is an equation in which the variables appear in separate terms and neither variable contains an exponent other than 1. Solutions of linear equations are ordered pairs that make the equation true. One way to find solutions is to make a table. In the example, I have a table where I show you the x. The next section is the y equals negative x plus 8, or the equation, or the function. Then the y, and then the ordered pair xy. In step 1, we choose any convenient values for x. Right now, for you, we'll mostly use -1, 0, 1, and 2. You'll learn later when we're using equations with fractions what we mean by choosing a convenient value for x, because you'll want to try and eliminate that fraction and make your solving of the equation simpler, so you'll figure that out, and we'll discuss that in later sections. In step 2, you will substitute the values for x. So in the second column, you'll see that we have y equals negative times -1 plus 8. Because our x was negative, we have to keep that negative there. Negative times -1 is 1, plus 8 is 9. Y equals negative times 0 plus 8. Well, negative times 0 is just 0, plus 8 is 8. Y equals -1 plus 8. -1 plus 8 is 7. And y equals -2 plus 8, and -2 plus 8 is 6. So that was step 3. We simplified to find the y values. Then step 4, we're going to write the solutions as ordered pairs. So we have -1, 9, 0, 8, 1, 7, and 2, 6. Now let's look at example 1 and find 4 solutions of the equation y equals x plus 2. Notice that we've used -1, 0, 1, and 2 for our x values. Again, you can choose any x value you want. You could even choose a decimal or a fraction, but it's just easier to use an integer. And I like to use the ones that are very simple to substitute into the equation. So in column 2, you can see where we substituted, and then we found the y values, and we wrote them as ordered pairs. So the 4 solutions are -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Let's look at one together in guided practice 1 and find 4 solutions to y equals 3x minus 4. Once again, I'll use -1, 0, 1, and 2. Now I'm not going to be able to fit my information on the table, so I'll just write mine out to the side. I have y equals 3 times -1 minus 4. 3 times -1 is -3, minus 4 is -7. So my first ordered pair is -1, -7. Then we'll substitute 0 for x, so y equals 3 times 0 minus 4, y equals 0 minus 4, y equals -4. So we have 0, -4 as our second ordered pair. Let's substitute 1. Y equals 3 times 1 minus 4. 3 minus 4 is -1. So we have 1, -1 as our ordered pair. And then we'll substitute 2. Y equals 3 times 2 minus 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. So we have 2, 2 as our last ordered pair. So our 4 ordered pairs are -1, -7, 0, -4, 1, -1, and 2, 2. Now it's your turn. In self-check 1, find 4 solutions to y equals -2x plus 2 and write those solutions as ordered pairs. On the back of your notes, just draw a table similar to the one I've shown. Substitute your x values in. You may choose any x values you wish. Substitute those in and find 4 ordered pairs. In example 2, we'll solve an equation for y. Sometimes it's necessary to first rewrite an equation by solving for y. And then we'll find 4 solutions and write the answers as ordered pairs. So here we had 2x plus y equals 5. And while you can substitute into that equation and find your answer, it's going to be a lot easier if you put it in y equals format. So we'll subtract 2x from both sides, and we get y equals negative 2x plus 5. And we'll go ahead and put that into our equation column. And then we'll substitute in our x values. And once we substitute those in, we'll get our y values. And then we'll write our ordered pairs. So the ordered pairs are negative 1, 7, 0, 5, 1, 3, and 2, 1. Let's try one together. In guided practice 2, we'll solve x minus y equals 6 for y, and then find 4 ordered pairs. So here we need to subtract x. Now let me try that again. We'll subtract x from both sides, and that leaves us with negative y equals negative x plus 6. Now, we don't want a negative y, and when you get a negative y, you really need to divide every term by negative 1 in order to get rid of it. So if I divide a negative by a negative, that gives me a positive y. Negative x divided by negative 1 is a positive x, and 6 divided by negative 1 is a negative 6. So our equation is going to be y equals x minus 6. So I'll go ahead and choose negative 1, 0, 1, and 2 for my x values, and I'll substitute them in. Y equals, again, you'll want to put yours in the table, but mine just won't fit with the stylus. Y equals negative 1 minus 6, so y equals negative 7. So we have negative 1, negative 7. Y equals 0 minus 6, so we get negative 6. 0, negative 6. Y equals 1 minus 6, we get negative 5. 1, negative 5, and y equals 2 minus 6, or negative 4, 2, negative 4. So my 4 ordered pairs are negative 1, negative 7, 0, negative 6, 1, negative 5, and 2, negative 4. In self-check number 2, you'll try a couple of these for yourself. Solve for y and then find 4 solutions and write the answers as ordered pairs. So the first thing I want you to do on the back of your notes is to solve the equations in A and B for y, and then go ahead and set up your table as we have in the previous ones. Substitute in your x values that you choose, find y, and then write your solutions as ordered pairs. Now we're going to graph linear equations. A linear equation, as we talked about earlier, or a function, can also be represented by a graph. Linear equations are going to be straight lines, so if you look at the first 3 graphs, we have straight lines. Nonlinear equations are not going to be straight, and we'll talk about some of these later on in the year possibly. If not, you'll definitely get to them in Algebra 1. We'll have quadratic equations like here. And you may or may not talk about the other graph. That may come later. Notice that the graphs of the linear equations are all straight lines, and that's going to be true for any linear equation. That's the reason they're called linear and line. The coordinates of all points on the line are solutions to the equation. Let's look at example 3 and graph a linear equation. To graph a linear equation, we're going to find ordered pair solutions, just like we have in the previous examples, plot the corresponding points on a coordinate plane, and draw a line through them. Now it's best to find at least 3 points. We're going to find 4. Technically you can find 2 to get a line, but if you do make a mistake on the 2 points, you may not get an accurate line. So we're going to graph y equals x plus 2 by plotting ordered pairs. We found our x values, substituted in, got our y's, and then we found negative 1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Now we recently reviewed sections 1, 6, and 2, 6 on how to plot these ordered pairs on a coordinate plane, so you should be able to do that on your own. If you check over on the graph, I have plotted those pairs and I've drawn a line through the points. Now notice that these are only a few of the solutions to the equation y equals x plus 2. There are infinitely many solutions, which is why the graph of the equation is a line. Remember that a line keeps going on and on forever, so every point on that line is going to be a solution. Let's look at guided practice 3 together. Y equals x minus 7. I'm going to use my same old values that I've been using, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I have y equals x minus 7. So I'm going to find my y values by substituting in. So I have y equals -1 minus 7, which is -8, -1, -8. I have y equals 0 minus 7, which is -7, 0, -7. Y equals 1 minus 7, -6, 1, -6. And y equals 2 minus 7, which is -5, 2, -5. I now need to plot these points, and keep in mind it's very difficult for me to plot them, and they're going to be very close together, so it's going to be hard for me to plot them with this stylus. -1, -8, we're going to go to the left 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 0, -7 will stay on the 0, and we'll go down 0, go down 7 places. 1, -6 will go to the right 1 and down 6. And then 2, -5 to the right 2 and down 5. And then we'll draw a line through our points. Now it's your turn. In Self-Check 3, graph y equals 3x by plotting ordered pairs. You'll need some graph paper to graph your line, and you'll also need to draw a table as we have in the other sections to find your ordered pairs.